The NBA is back in action going into this final stretch of NBA basketball. We had a couple games today. I want to go over them real quick. They were actually very entertaining, I'm not going to lie. There was a couple ones I couldn't, fully watch or anything. But for the most part, these games were very entertaining and really do get me excited for this last stretch of NBA basketball. Going to be really fun to see, who comes out on top and who falls, and upsets and surprises and everything going into this last stretch of basketball. So for the Nuggets Cavs game, pretty back and forth throughout the whole game really. The Nuggets were able to knock down a few more shots towards the end. While Cleveland had their opportunities, they just failed to capitalize and eventually lost. Nikola Jokic doing Nikola Jokic things, showing he is the MVP this season, putting up in the third quarter had a triple-double, and throughout the whole game had 24, 18, and 13 assists, had 76% from true shooting percentage. Just incredible efficiency, incredible stats, incredible everything from Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. had himself a very nice game, hitting 6 threes on 60% from the field. KCP also played really good at on his 3-and-D role, just really nice. And for Cleveland, Evan Mobley, oh my goodness, Evan Mobley played phenomenal for Cleveland versus the MVP Nikola Jokic, putting up 31 points, 9 rebounds, and shot 73% true shooting percentage. Just an incredible performance from Evan Mobley. Another very entertaining game today was the Celtics barely squeezing past the Indiana Pacers in an overtime win. Tatum and Brown combined for 61 points, and both of them had a double-double. Brogdon had himself a nice game off the bench, and Boston in general gave up 138 points to the Indiana Pacers. That is not really a good look for their defense, but when you do look at the film, when you look at when they needed to get stops the most at the end of regulation and the end of overtime, they did get those stops. Who was it? Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Malcolm Brogdon, all good perimeter defenders, and they got the job done, forcing real tough shots for basically the whole entire clutch minutes for the Indiana Pacers. And they did get forced to overtime, but once they got to the end of overtime, they were forcing some real tough shots. But someone this defense could not stop. Oh my goodness. He's in the thumbnail. You know who it is. Miles freaking Turner. That man, Miles Turner, had 40 points, 10 rebounds, 87% from the field, 80% from the three-point line, making 8 threes. That man was insane. Miles Turner just had himself a insane night. Hit some fadeaway threes in the corner, clutch threes. He just could not be stopped. Unfortunately, it was in a losing effort. But Miles Turner just played incredible today. And even Tyrese had himself a pretty nice night, 22 points, 14 assists, and only 1 turnover. Just very solid from Tyrese, showing why he was an all-star. Detroit versus Orlando, one of the more under-the-radar type of games, not very highly marketed teams or anything. But this did go down to the wire. Jaden Ivey hooping over there at Detroit with the absence of Kate Cunningham. He did hit the game tying shot. Almost sent Detroit to overtime, but Wendell Carter had himself a game-winning putback layup at the buzzer directly after Jaden Ivey had just hit that game-tying 3. Very fun game to watch these two young teams go at it. Not really fighting for anything big during this last stretch except for a high overall pick. So it's just fun seeing these two young teams go at it, trying to prove themselves. Now, one of the craziest, most entertaining, most energetic games today on national television, the 76ers versus Memphis Grizzlies. One of the best games today, where there's just a little bit of everything, like trash talking, nice hustle plays, dunks, crazy defense, clutch baskets. There was just everything in this game. Felt like a playoff game throughout the whole thing as well. The crowd was into it. You can tell the players wanted to win this game really badly. They were out there just doing everything. It was game 7 of the finals or something. Just really fun to watch. Harden and Embiid played very well out there. Embiid put up a nice 27 point game. Struggled quite a bit actually in the field, only shooting 7 of 25, but got to that free throw line, of course, 17 times, making 13 of them. Brought in 19 rebounds, 6 assists, and dominated defensively, putting up 6 blocks, and just was an insane presence in the paint, making it like everything in the paint difficult for the Memphis Grizzlies, especially John Morant. We'll get into John Morant's stats. That man, John Morant, was struggling, and Embiid was definitely a huge part of that. Harden was definitely the better offensive player today between the dynamic duo of him and Embiid, putting up 31 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists on 81% true shooting percentage. Just had a very Harden-esque type of game. Did everything, shot the ball very well, and led this 76ers team to a pretty good win. Now for the Grizzlies, Desmond Bane had himself a very good first quarter, put up 19 points on 87% from the field and 4 threes. Kind of cooled off from there on. He only put up, I think, 25 points throughout the whole game. But John Morant, pretty much the big question mark throughout this game. What was up with him? Only had 15 points, shooting 19% from the field. Had his first field goal made in the third quarter, and it was an open fast break dunk. No one was on him at all, off of a steal, I believe. And John Morant just had a very, very, very rough game, to say the least. And the big part in that was Joel Embiid's incredible defense in the paint today, just blocking everything, just having an incredible presence. And not even just Joel Embiid, this whole 76ers team, very good defensive performance. Just very entertaining game throughout, just clutch baskets everywhere. It was incredible. Now the New Orleans Pelicans Toronto Raptors game was also pretty close. Not throughout the whole game, but towards the end of that game, pretty much Raptors had the game in wraps. Like, they had like a nice comfortable 10 or so lead. Then Brandon Ingram came over here and said, hold on, I'm not finished yet, and put up basically just him single-handedly came back and rallied together the Pelicans to almost make a pretty good comeback in the end of regulation. But unfortunately for the Pelicans, the Toronto Raptors hit a few daggers, including Gary Trent's three-pointer to put away the New Orleans Pelicans. But Brandon Ingram continued to dominate, put up 36, 7, and 3. He's been on an incredible stretch, going back to right before All-Star break until now. He's still dominating. Hopefully they can get Zion Williamson back, because most likely if they did have him, this would be a pretty good win for them. But Jakob Poeltl, also for the Toronto Raptors, been a great addition on his second round with this team in his career. Really filling in one of their biggest holes as a team with the Toronto Raptors at that center position. Now they can actually have a definitive center out there instead of running like small ball center or something. He's been really good for them, and the Raptors have also been 3-0 since his arrival. Now, a game I did not watch, ironically, as a Spurs fan, because I was just all over the place watching every single game. This game wasn't too much on my radar. I have been watching Spurs games, don't worry, just this game in particular, going against the Dallas Mavericks. I knew what the result was going to be, and of course it did happen. The Mavericks destroyed the Spurs in put up 140 points, I think. This team, obviously, once they got Kyrie Irving alongside Luka, we knew this team was going to be incredible offensively. They definitely showed that tonight, putting up 140 or something like that. Spurs getting closer to Wembanyama. I'm excited for that. After they get a franchise-high 15-game losing streak after tonight's loss. That's not a good stat to have, but in the context of this season, I'm not too disappointed with that. Now, one of the other better games tonight, the Utah Jazz versus the Oklahoma City Thunder, a roller coaster of a game. Just one team having the edge, having a good lead, or not a good lead, but a lead in the closing seconds of the game, and then something happens, and something else happens, leads to overtime, and then overtime's crazy and everything. Very entertaining game between very low profile type of teams, but teams that are fighting for that play-in spot with Utah and OKC. OKC did eventually lose in overtime, just barely, because of Lauri Markkanen's 43 points and 10 rebound performance. Just incredible performance, showing why he is my pick for most improved player of the year. This man had almost no expectations coming into the season. Completely surprised everybody, and this is one of the standout performances of his season so far. One of my favorite rookies this season, Walker Kessler, came up huge for the Utah Jazz. Maybe not in the stat sheet, but man, this Walker Kessler, just incredible plays, had that game-tying layup or putback layup, whatever it was, at the end of regulation to tie the game. And then the game-saving block on Isaiah Joe, I believe it was, at the rim to save the game, send it to overtime. And I believe, I actually don't have the stat in front of me, but I believe I saw Walker Kessler, I think, had 7 blocks this game. Just incredible. Walker Kessler, if you don't know about him, go watch the film. This man, one of my favorite rookies this season, basically can do it all for Utah. He can shoot the 3-ball. He can block the shots at the rim. He's a good interior defender. He can really do everything very well. Can't wait to see how his career pans out. But for OKC, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had himself a masterclass performance, putting up 39 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals, in a tough loss for OKC, especially when they're battling for that play-in spot. I don't know how the play-in is looking right now after these games, but I assume it's going to change over time with only one game into this last stretch of games. But, you know, games like these where it's against the opponents you're fighting to get into the play-in with, it's good. It's tough. It's real tough to take these type of losses. Just not good for OKC, but real good for Utah, of course. Now, Sacramento versus Portland, wasn't too much paying attention to this game. I had it on, was watching it a little bit in the first half. Wasn't really paying attention in the second half because, you know, Sacramento was pretty much healthy with De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, and all them. Portland wasn't, with, you know, Damian Lillard and Anthony Simons out this game. Pretty much was just showing out with their newly acquired, you know, Matisse Thybulle, Cam Reddish, and all them. Even their rookie Shaedon Sharpe and all that. They were basically the ones I was paying attention to. Even Nazir Little had himself a pretty nice game. But as of course, the Sacramento Kings took care of business versus the, you know, short-handed Portland Trailblazers team. Wasn't expecting anything different. Now for the final game tonight, probably the most anticipated game of the night, understandably so. One of the two biggest markets in the game going against each other. The Lakers faced the Warriors. The new look Lakers team in their second game together, fully healthy and everything. Won again. This is their 2-0, I believe, when they're fully healthy together with LeBron, AD, and the whole entire team versus the Curry and Wiggins-less Warriors. LeBron and Anthony Davis didn't even play that well, honestly. Only combined for 25 points, and they still won by 13 points. That right there is probably one of the most telling things about this new Lakers team. The fact that the LeBron James and Anthony Davis dynamic duo can play pretty bad, honestly. Like, LeBron did not look himself today. Anthony Davis had himself an alright game, and they still won by double-digit points against the defending champions. Granted, they did not have their best player in Andrew Wiggins, but they still won a game in general without their two best players playing very well. But while the dynamic duo of LeBron and Anthony Davis struggled, the newly acquired Malik Beasley had himself a game out there. 25 points, 7 threes on 64% from the three-point line on national television. Just absolutely balled out there. Exactly what the Lakers need, that elite volume shooter who just lets it fly. No matter if he's shooting good or shooting bad, he'll let it fly. And today it was going in. 25 points. Led the team in points, I believe. But of course, unfortunate news for the Lakers. I'm pretty sure everyone saw the injury. D'Lo went down with that tough ankle sprain on his left. I don't know what ankle it was, but it was this pretty severe looking sprained ankle. But luckily, he did go on to play after that injury, but eventually was taken out and never returned to play for this game. But x-rays did come back negative, which is a good sign, meaning there was no structural damage or anything to his ankle or anything. So hopefully only keep him out for a couple games, I assume, especially the fact that D'Lo was still playing after the injury. Pretty good sign for the Lakers, but it's just unfortunate to see one of their newly acquired players go down immediately after they just acquired him, and they were actually starting to get a consistent rotation with the new lineups and everything. So after a day of basketball returning, once again going into this final stretch of basketball, I am very excited. This day definitely got me even more excited with basketball. I'm coming back after All-Star break. This is going to be real fun. Make sure to stay tuned if you aren't already with this channel. It's going to be real fun, especially going to the playoffs and everything. Just going to be super excited to make content for y'all. If y'all are excited, hit the like button down below, subscribe button, notification bell, so you can be notified as soon as I upload. And hopefully I do some more of these videos where it's just, you know, at night, you know, games are over, want to react to some of the games. Obviously not doing this every night, that would be too much. But you know, just on nights like this where they're very entertaining games where the NBA comes back from something. Hopefully I can do these more consistently. And if you agree or disagree or you're on the fence with what I'm saying, put it down in the comments below. Be respectful, and hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.